Hello friends and welcome to Hungry Neurons. Do you find yourself in a situation where you know a person but you cannot remember his name? Or you are giving a speech in front of an audience but suddenly you blank out and make a fool of yourself? Don't worry, that will never happen to you again after we discuss some super easy memory techniques that most successful people know about. These techniques are simple, effective, reliable and useful, so all you need to do is hang in there. We also have a bonus rule at the end of this video, so let's get started. And guys, I want you to pay attention to these points very carefully because they will change the way you remember things forever. The first one on the list is bring the information to life. The most common way to remember something is to create a movie or a picture out of it. Bring that information to life. If you're trying to memorize the capital of Australia, Canberra, you can imagine a kangaroo eating some berries to help jog your memory. Hey, it won't be that simple in the beginning, but once you get used to it, you will have fun with it. The second one is use the C technique, and I want you to do this with me, alright? The S stands for senses. Information enters our brain via senses, so let us say you are trying to remember a horse. It is important you imagine the skin, smell, touch, and even its taste. Here you don't have to be drawn by logic. It is about creating a multi-sensory image which makes recalling much easier. The E in the C stands for exaggeration. Compared to an ordinary horse, you are most likely going to remember a giant, bright pink horse wearing a pair of shorts. And the third E stands for energize. A horse galloping near a beach is far more energetic than a horse standing still, isn't it? Adding a bit of action will make the information more memorable. Now try forgetting a giant pink horse wearing white pants galloping towards you. Not possible, right? Before we go to the next point, let me ask you a question. Do you remember how to go from the station to your house? How about going to an ancestral house? Even when you haven't been there in years, chances are that you remember it accurately. So it is safe to assume that we are good at remembering paths. Can we create a mind palace? If you have seen Sherlock Holmes, you know what a mind palace is and how cool it is. But for those of you who do not know it, mind palace is a mental image of a place. Your home, your office, or any other place you are familiar with. You can then add various elements to these locations relevant to your context or what you want to remember and make a story out of it. The idea is to create a string of locations as you go on. Now, I want you to do this experiment with me. Let us say you are giving a speech and the first paragraph talks about a horse, the second about summer camp, and the last about a circus. So random, right? How will you remember this? Here's how. You can imagine a horse wearing shades sitting in your living room, or even better, jumping in your living room. Then for the summer camp, you can think of those family pictures on your refrigerator as you slowly move away from your living room. And as you inspect your refrigerator and move into the kitchen, you can imagine a whole lot of animals playing with your utensils, and maybe a monkey stealing the shades from your horse. Now, that's a story no one can ever forget. The author used this method to remember the first 10,000 digits of pi. Amazing, right? Now, before we move on to the next part where we learn how to remember names, I want you to recall everything that you have learned in this video. Place all the points strategically in your house and visit each one of them. If you practice this a few times, you will be really good at creating stories and remembering things. But what about names? So what do you do when you just can't remember the name of the person you are talking to? You just awkwardly hope that you don't need to introduce him to someone, or even better, you wish that someone else calls him by his name and this time you can pay attention. Use the 4 C's system and you will never find yourself in this situation again. Concentrate, create, connect, and continuous use. The first step is to concentrate and make sure that you actually hear his name right. The next step is to create a memorable image. Let us take the author's surname, Horsley. You can remember this by picturing a fight between a horse and Bruce Lee. The funnier the connection, the better it is to remember. Now connect that person's face to your mental image. And finally, you will have to use the name in the conversation. Add him on a social network so that you never forget his name. These sound simple, but the only thing is that we never practice. It is important for you to use these techniques and not give excuses like, well, I'm not good at remembering names. You may get away with it a few times, but there is a time bomb ticking on you. Time for the bonus tip as promised. If you find it difficult to pay attention and you get distracted easily, You are not alone and you can use the PIC rule to stop this from happening. P stands for a sense of purpose. Whenever you are doing something, ask yourself what is the purpose of you learning that. If you are trying to learn French, for example, booking ticket to France can be the additional push that you may need. If you are learning a new coding language, you can aim at building your own website or getting a better job. Having a sense of purpose helps you to go through tough times like a hot knife through butter. It helps you to finish what you have started and not give up midway. The I and the C stands for being interested and curious. Ask questions that make you interested and curious about the purpose. Like, what will my life be when I have my dream job? Or, how many people will my website attract and what can I do with it? This will help you stay motivated. The tips in this video are very effective, but to use these tips to your advantage, you need to remember them. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe for such amazing content on the channel every week. Until then, keep your brain